Hey everyone, Simon here from Webnestify. Excuse me for my voice, I'm still a bit sick, but I wanted to get this video out as many of you requested it, and I really enjoy doing this for you. Personally, I was really tired of juggling countless tools and paying hefty subscription fees just to keep my workflows in order. So in today's video, we are diving into the infinite automation possibilities that open source tools like n8n and Baserow bring to the table. I am running those two essential tools for many years now and never been happier. You are in for a treat today. So with these tools, you will learn how to automate repetitive tasks, manage data effortlessly, and integrate with dozens of services, all while saving you tremendous amount of money. Plus, you get to build highly customized workflows and own your data for complete privacy. But before we dive into the installation, I'll show you a practical demonstration and some example automations so we can see the real-world applications of n8n and Baserow. This way, you can decide if installing them is right choice for your needs. So let's jump straight to some automation magic, and then we will install it properly and securely on our server. So what is Baserow? Baserow is an open source, no-code database that lets you create and manage structured data like spreadsheet, but with the power of relational database. It's a great alternative to Airtable, giving you full control over your data. Here are some key features. It can be self-hosted or cloud. Run it on your own server or use Baserow hosted version. No-code interface. You can create databases, link tables, and manage data with ease. It is also API first. You can integrate it with other tools and automate workflows. It is very scalable and fast. It handles large datasets without you slowing you down. And it is collaboration ready. You can share databases and set user permissions. So why would you even consider to use Baserow? First, you own your data. No vendor lock-in, full privacy. Easy automations. It works with n8n, Zapier, and custom APIs. It is very cost effective. You have no per user fees when self-hosting. And it is perfect for businesses, developers, and teams who need powerful and flexible database without complexity. And when you visit baserow.io, you can read more. But most importantly, I wanted to show you the pricing. So as you can see, if you self-host it, you have always for free, and you have unlimited databases, unlimited rows, unlimited storage, grid, form, and gallery views, and you can use 65 plus more templates. But if you choose premium, what you can also get Kanban, survey, and calendar views, XML and JSON exports. You can comment on rows, you can comment or you can put colors on rows, and you will remove the public logo. And I think this plan is very, very affordable. And if you decide to use it on your self-hosted, you also support further development of this amazing project. But it is completely up to you. You can use it for free, or if you don't want to deploy your server and manage your servers, you can always use their SaaS solutions, which always is a good option if you scale your business up and you don't want complexities of managing your Docker applications. And also, as you can see, I'm also using Baserow, and I purchased the license because I really love this Baserow software, and without it, I couldn't be able to automate things that I want to automate in my business. So yeah, the licenses are very cheap, and if you are a solopreneur, if you are only one person in business, it is very, very affordable because you are not paying for users, but you are paying per database, basically. So yeah, all the powers to you. And now let's talk about what is n8n. n8n is an open source workflow automation tool that lets you connect your apps, services, and APIs to automate tasks without writing complex code. Think of it as an alternative to Zapier, but with full control and flexibility. Here are some key features. You can self-host it, or you can use their cloud offerings. Run it on your own server or use n8n cloud service. No code plus code. You can drag and drop interface with an option to customize using JavaScript. You can connect anything. It have 350 plus built-in integrations, API, databases, webhooks, and more. Workflow automation. You can schedule tasks, process data, and trigger action across services. It is very scalable and flexible. It handles complex workflows and real-time automations. And now let's talk about n8n sustainable use license. n8n is a fair code software, meaning it's open source, but with limitations on commercial use. Key takeaway: you cannot white label n8n or resell it. You also cannot offer n8n as a self-hosted SaaS and charge users. But on the other hand, you can use it for internal business or personal projects. You can create integrations of consulting services related to n8n. And you can also read more about this. I will include the link in the description. And you may be asking why you want to use n8n. First, privacy and security. You can keep automation fully in your control. You have infinite possibilities. You can automate marketing, data processing, DevOps, and more. And there is no per task fees, unlike Zapier, no extra cost for high usage. It is really perfect for developer, businesses, and anyone looking to streamline processes with automation. And when we have the overview done, let's go and check the pricing. As you can see, it is very, very affordable, and you are charged only for workflow executions, which on like Zapier you are charged per each task in the execution. So yeah, there goes the differences, and what I really love that is open source, and yeah, you can use it for your own business. And yeah, if you want to sell it or do automations for other businesses from your instance, you will need to purchase the proper license to do it. It can be starter, it can be pro, or if you are a big company, you always go for enterprise, and they will be able to help you get some nice discounts. And also you will see when you deploy your n8n, you can also register your free version, which will give you some extras like task execution logs and history, which is very, very handy. You will see it when we deploy our n8n instance. So yeah, I think that's it about n8n, and yeah, we can continue with the deployment. But before we start integrating all the automations together, first we need to connect our n8n to our Baserow instance. So as you can see in your workflows, you can create your first workflow. And here you have the workflow or n8n canvas where you can build various automations. So first we can name this, for example, base get from Baserow. And you can also tag it is using Baserow, so we will add our tag Baserow. You can add multiple tags. Alright, so now we're going to add our first step, and we can search for nodes. It's gonna be Baserow. We're gonna click it, and here we will need to create some. You can choose if you want to have a trigger on a webhook call or on a schedule, or you want to do some action. In this case, yes, we want to get action, and that will be get many rows, or actually we want to update our row. So we will update our row, and credential to connect with. We will need to create our new credentials so we can connect Baserow to n8n. So we can click create, and the host will be your Baserow URL. So in this case, it is at br.webnestify.net. Username will be your email. So let me copy my email. Unlock my password manager, and it's gonna be copy. I'm gonna paste it here, and also the same password. So we can copy the password and paste it here, and it's gonna be Webnestify test Baserow. We can click save, and as you can see, credentials have been created inside of your personal space, so we can use it also for our later automations. Okay, so now what we want to do is we need to select our database which we want to update. It's gonna be website leads, and with the table submitted forms, and you will need to specify row ID. And we don't have anything here, but we have established the connection. This is the most important part. So what we can now do, for example, to test it, even without any data, we can go back to canvas, and we can remove this, and we can add another base row. But we want to get many rows. We want to see everything. I'm gonna select website leads, table, and when we test our step, we should get our data. So let me see. And we don't have any data because we will need to put something here. So it's gonna be test.com. And when we get our test step, we should receive output for the name, last name, and email, as you can see. So now we are sure that our connection is working and valid. Okay, so let me close this. We can click save, and now we can proceed to our WordPress and WS Forms. All right, so we have our example WordPress website with WS Forms. So here, as you can see, we have just a basic contact form, and the idea behind this, because we don't want to store any data in the WordPress database, because I just don't like it to put additional bloat to the WordPress, because it's bloated by itself with so many plugins, etc., etc., etc. So we want to keep it cleanest as possible. So that's why we will push the data to our Baserow, which is perfect solution for storing data like this. So when we go to the actions menu in WordPress forms, what we don't want to do is save to submission. So we can remove this. You can show a message at the end, or you can send email. That's completely fine. But we want to add a row, and we're gonna push to n8n. And for the action, what we do, we choose a webhook. And also what we need to do is we're gonna put our endpoint soon. Method will be post, content type JSON, which is fine. And for the authentication, we want to authenticate our webhook so nobody can enumerate the webhook URL. All right, so once we are here, then we go back to our n8n. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a new workflow. We're gonna name it get data from contact form. And we can name it like WS Forms, like the tag. So everything is clean and organized. And we're gonna add our first step. And we're gonna choose on a webhook call. And HTTP method will be post. And authentication, what we want to do, we want to create a basic authorization token. So we click basic auth, and we will create our new credentials, and we name it WS Forms contact form webhook, because you can create as many webhooks as you want. Each can have separate authentication for improved security. And user will be Webnestify, and we will generate our passphrase, and we can click save. Credential successfully created. Let's go back to our form, and we're gonna add username Webnestify, and we're gonna add the password. And first, by default, you will have the test URL to test the webhook call to get some data, right? Because first you always need to test it. So what we're gonna do, we can copy this test URL. We go back here, and we're gonna add this URL here in WS Forms. And when should this action run? Usually when the form is submitted, or if the form is saved, but usually form submitted. And for the field mapping, now we are going to map our fields so we can do whatever we want with n8n. So we're gonna click add, and we're gonna select first name. Key will be first name, then will be last name, and then will be email. If you want to track any additional things like time and date, etc., you can do. What you will need to do is create it, right? Also the columns in Baserow. But for this demonstration, we will just track those three. And we can click save and close. We can do publish. And when we're gonna do preview, let me listen for the test event. And where is the preview? Here we're gonna do Simon testing at testing.com. Inquiry, this is amazing. We're gonna click submit. And as you can see, we have our data which we can start working with. So what I like to do now is to pin this data. You can see there's the pin icon. You click it, and then you just change to the production URL. You copy this production URL, go back to the form, and we will just edit from the testing URL to the production URL. Save and close, publish. Perfect. We can now go back from this, and now what we want to do is what we want to do next. So we're gonna type Baserow, and what we want to do is create a row, and we select our row, operate create, database website leads, table submitted forms, and here data to send defined below for each column. So what we want to do is add field. It will now load the Baserow field, which will be name, and field value. We want to drag the first name. Then we're going to add our second field, which will be last name. We copy from the left side the response, what we got from the webhook. You copy a last name, and third will be email, and we copy the email. And it's really important to drag and drop those kind of fields, because you can mess something up, and it doesn't. Sometimes there can be, you can have input a lot of fields, so you need to always check from the body. And we can now test the step. And as you can see, we have output in our base row. So let me go back check. And as you can see, it added our contact form lead to our base row. All right. So let me close this. And now don't forget to unpin this one. Let me open it by double clicking. Let me unpin it. And now we can click save. And we will choose status to active. And as you can see, we can now make calls to our production webhook URL. Don't show it again. Okay. So now every time somebody fills this form or any form that you set up, it will work automatically. So let me do testing test.com, another test, I consent, gonna click submit. As you can see, it added instantly. And if you want to see previous executions, you can always see, right? And here you see the test execution, and here was the production execution. So it is really pretty straightforward and very easy to do. As a next example, what I wanted to show you is how you can even improve this workflow and send automatic response to someone who fill in the contact form. And for this, we will use OpenAI, ChatGPT, and your API key, because I think this is really great way how you can personalize and send basically email instantly when somebody receive or send the contact form. So we can go back to our editor, and we will need to edit some things, because now what we need to do, we need to also push data to our webhook from the inquiry. So what we can do is, when we go to the actions, we're gonna edit push to n8n. We will add another field mapping, and we will select your inquiry, and we will name it inquiry. Let me go back to our n8n. We're gonna make it to the test URL. Let me paste it here. We're gonna save and close, publish. And now we will listen for a test event. This should be already refreshed, so it's gonna be Simon. Now I put the real email because we want to also see the reply from the ChatGPT. So it's gonna be simon@webnestify.cloud. And let's type some nice inquiry. Hello. I would like to get more information about your amazing vacuum. I know English is not not my first language. About your amazing vacuum cleaner that you have on sale. Thank you very much. Now I want to consent. We're gonna click submit. When we go back to our n8n, we should have also the inquiry. We have it. Let's pin this data. And let's change it to the production. I'm gonna back to action. Save and close. Publish. And then same, we want to push this information, but for example, you don't want to store this inquiry data in a base row. So we can just run this one to test the step. Double check, we already have it. Let me refresh it. We already have it here, that's perfect. But now what we want to add is advanced AI, and it should be AI agent. So we're gonna add our AI agent, and we will need to, hold on. And yes, by default, it asks you for a chat trigger, but we don't need that. We want to define our own. So, and we're gonna write some prompt. My company my company is specializing in high-end vacuum cleaners. Come on, vacuum cleaners. My company is specializing in high-end vacuum cleaners. I want you to respond to our contact form and write a nice email to a customer named. And now we will add our name, so it have a dynamic data. So we will add it here. And next, what we want to do is to pass the inquiry. Generate professional email from following inquiry. And we will drag and drop the inquiry field. Come on, it should be a little bit bigger. Okay, from the following inquiry. And we're gonna drop it here. All right, that should be it. And as you can see, here you see real-time results, what you will pass to the chat GPT, basically. So we can close this and we can now continue. And you will need now to get out of this menu. And here, let me move this here to the center. What we will need to do is to add our chat model. And so we're gonna do OpenAI. And here you will need to create or add your API key. So I'm going to edit. I already created a testing key, which will be removed after this video. So let me put it here. My test, OpenAI test. And we can click save. Connection tested successfully. You can close this. And here you can select which model you want to use for the response. So, all right, so there was some problem with OpenAI API key. So I just removed the OpenAI and I selected the DeepSeek chat model. So I'm going here. I'm going to add my credential. And it's gonna be just testing. You can click save. And as you can see, now it is working. And now we can choose the DeepSeek chat. That's fine. And hopefully, when we test the scenario, it will work. So let's test the step. And perfect, it is working. So let it work. Amazing. And now we should have one output item, the response from the DeepSeek. So what we can do, now we can add our SMTP. So let's go do just SMTP, send email. And we're gonna send an email. And we will add also our SMTP credential. So let me create our new. I'm gonna name it my postmark. Postmark. And client hostname should be fine. And yeah, let me fill in and we will continue. All right, I'm going to save it. Could not connect with these details. Let me try the retry. I have some, because now we are using start TLS, so we want to disable SSL TLS. Okay, that's it. And now it's gonna be from email. It's gonna be hello@mail.webnestify.cloud. And to email, again, you want to select it from the webhook. I'm gonna select it here. And email format can be HTML. And let's see the response. As you can see, the response is not very clear, so we will need to probably reformat it. But yeah, let's just check the output. And to email, let me select it again. Okay, and now when we can test the step, we should get our email. So let me check it. And as you can see, we have received our email that was automatically generated through the DeepSeek, but we will need a better format for it. So let me just edit that, and I'm going to show you how you can also do it. All right, so to get a nice cleaned response that you can use for an email, you need to open your AI agent. And as you can see, you need to check require specific output format. And then you will get new option. Let me zoom in for you. The output parser. You edit and you want to check auto fixing output parser. You click OK. And then you will need to connect it to the model, which we are using. It is a DeepSeek. And then what we want to do is go back. And now what we need to do is output parser, and we want to output in a JSON format, which we can use. So we're gonna click it, and from generate from JSON example, you can remove the state, for example, and we want to have just one prompt in couple arrays, right? So we're gonna rename cities from what is it called? Inquiry. And here we're gonna add just inquiry text, and that should do the work. Let me close this. Let me run the AI agent again. And by the end, we should have nice structured format then we can use in email. All right. So when we check our output in table, as you can see, we have everything nicely formatted. So we can use this in our email. So when we're gonna send email, then we want to use email format HTML. Let me put this in bigger. And what we want to use first, gonna be inquiry 0. And then we want to add the HTML spaces. So it's gonna be BR, so it's gonna be in a completely new line. We can copy this because we're gonna use it. Then we're gonna paste our inquiry 2. Then we're gonna add another break. Then we're gonna add inquiry 2, another break, 3, inquiry 4, and so on and so forth. So you can play with it. You can also put like predefined values, your name, your company, your position, etc., etc. So as you can see, you can ignore it because it won't render as HTML. But when we go there and our test step, we should receive our nice email. And as you can see, our email is nicely formatted. And if you want to remove this email was sent automatically with n8n. You can go back here. You get the new option, append n8n attribution. You disable it. You're gonna test the email again. And we should have without n8n in the footer basically. So yep, it takes a little bit of time to get used to it. I was doing this first time also to automatically reply to some emails. But yeah, we get there. It's not very hard, but you need to understand some basics, right? Like the break lines and also this output parser. All right, so yeah, that's pretty it for those demonstration, and yeah, we can now continue how you can install it and all the goodies that you need to know in order to get it like I did. And one last thing I wanted to show you are the n8n community templates. So here you can go straight away to the n8n templates and you can discover some templates that you want to use. So let me search, for example, what you want to do, like Gmail, for example, right? And you can automatically get invoices from Gmail to Drive and Google Spreadsheet. So for example, you can open it and you can read more. What does it do? And you simply click use workflow and it will automatically find your URL that you are working with, and we can import this template. And here you will have the setup page. So first what you need to do is to add your Gmail credential, Google Drive credential, then open AI model and also Google Sheet credential. So once you add it, you can continue, but in this case, we're gonna skip it. And I really love n8n templates because it's very easy to set up and you have everything you need to know in your canvas, like here. Set up your Gmail and Google Drive credentials, set your OpenAI key, and you go next. And then you can use LLMs to extract values from data. So basically you can automate some things from your invoices and your attachment, etc. So it is very, very powerful what you can do and how you can automate your tedious business tasks. So let's just explore a little bit more from those templates because they are seriously really powerful, and there are also many YouTubers on some channels. I'm gonna also include them in the description. But for example, in the marketing section, what you can do or what you can find, you can publish WordPress posts to social media X, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram with AI. And I think this is really time-saving feature. So we can use workflow. We're gonna import it. And let me zoom in. And here again, you will connect your Google Sheets. You will add your WordPress credentials. And you can use Open Router chat model, OpenAI, and then you will also add your API keys from X, LinkedIn, Facebook. So we can skip it. And again, you will have step-by-step instructions because n8n and community templates, they really giving good care to those templates be very nice formatted and structured so everyone can use them and follow the step-by-step so there are no issues and no errors. So seriously guys, n8n is it's a game changer. All right, and now let's go back how you can install it and deploy it on your own servers. And also how you can get my Docker templates and all the applications that we are talking on this channel is through my GitHub repository. I have created a Docker project where you can see all the applications that are ready to use after some tweaks. So to use it is pretty simple. You can just copy the code, copy the URL. You go to your terminal or, for example, VS Code, and you just need to clone this repository to your server. So git clone, we can paste it, and we have it here. And when we go, for example, to the Docker, n8n Docker Compose, you can straight away edit those values that you will need, that I will show you when we talk over the Docker Compose files for those two applications that we want to deploy today. So that's pretty it. And I would be really happy if you start this repo, because I'm putting a lot of work to prepare those files for you. Everything should be straight away to use. We have some which will get automatically the folder, so you don't need to basically do anything except change some values like domains and those kind of things. So you can read more, and also when you visit every application, you can also read more about those apps, for example Jellyfin. And yeah, as time goes, I will be putting more and more apps, some open source projects for you to take and deploy it straight away with, should be everything fine and everything should be working, because I'm always testing it. So yeah, that's github.com Webnestify/Docker. I will also include link in the description so you can find it. And thank you very much if you start this repo or even fork it. And if you want, you can also contribute to this. So let me now walk you through the Docker Compose for the Baserow. So at the beginning we have services, and first service is Postgres, which serves as a database. Some things to note is that here you have some environment variables that you don't want to change anything. For the volumes, it will be a local mounted folder, which is always better. And you just need to clone it and it will automatically get and create those folders, so you don't need to do anything here. If you want to change those kind of things, you are free to change it if you want. Then there is some health check, which will be good to see if the Postgres database is fine. Security options, no new privilege. That means the container cannot get any new privileges, so it helps from the Docker escape vulnerabilities or something like that. Labels, Watchtower enabled true. If you are running Watchtower to update your Docker stack, you can add it there. Only thing that you need to change is your network, and you change it to your network that you created or the network you already have. Then here we have a Baserow application, and for the ports I added the localhost IP because we're gonna be using reverse proxy, and you can proxy it on the port 89. For the Baserow public URL, you want to add your URL on which you want to access it. Here we have some database variables, you don't need to change anything here. And also, if you want to use email, all you need to do is just to remove comment, and you can add your SMTP details as you like. PUID, PGUID, that means it will be run as your local user. Again, the volume the same. Security options, no new privilege true. Then we have Watchtower label. You change your network here. And also you want to change your network here. And now let's go to the env file, which you will need to change some values in order to create your own database. So for the Postgres user, what I highly recommend is to generate those values through a password manager. Let me open my Bitwarden. And when you generate, for example, username, you can just generate it. You copy it here. That's perfect. Then for the password, I recommend passphrase. You just generate, you copy here. Then we have another username for the non-root user, which database will be run. You paste it here. And another passphrase. And now you have a strong and secure Postgres database that Baserow will use. And here you can see the init data script, which will be run when the Postgres starts. It will automatically create those database for you from the env values, as you can see. Here we have a placeholder for those values from env. And when we go back to Docker Compose, you can also see we have the init data script that will also start it. And after that, I also include the Caddy file, which you can also copy and paste to your Caddy file. And now let's talk about the n8n Docker Compose. Again, we have the same Postgres database with all the values that you don't need to change here anything. And we have the same security options, the same label. And again, your network, you need to change your network, for example, Proxy or whatever you decided to use. Then we have the n8n image. We have the same Postgres database, PostgresDB, again the same. And also n8n enforce settings file permissions means true. And you will see when we deploy it that you will need to probably change the folder owner. And if you want to use SMTP, feel free to add your SMTP details here. Webhook URL, you need to enter your domain. Protocol HTTPS. Here also n8n host, you want to enter your domain. And n8n encryption, you just need to generate your encryption key, for example, like the passphrase, and because all data will be automatically encrypted, which is really great. And here you want to add your time zone that you are currently in. For the ports, again, I put it on the localhost because we will be proxying through Caddy, and port is 5678. If you have this port in use, feel free to change it. And then we have some depends on n8n Postgres. It depends the database is healthy, then it will start. And again, change your network and also change your network here. You will see the placeholder to change value. And for the init, for the env, again, I highly recommend to generate your values like the username through a password manager. And for the password, always generate a secure passphrase, which passphrases are more secure than passwords. And again, we have the init data script that will create the database for n8n. And here you have the Caddy file. So if you change some port, don't forget to also change it here. And that's pretty it. So after you edited the Docker Compose file that I created for Baserow and Postgres, now you are ready to deploy your Baserow instance. In order to do it, what you need to do is type docker compose up-d $& and docker compose logs f, because we want to see logs in the real time if everything is all right. So let's press enter. And we have some logs. And when we scroll up, we can see that should be everything is fine. Database cluster will be initialized. That's fine. We have script for the Postgres database. As you can see, the init file was completed. And now the Baserow is creating the tables into the Postgres. And when we scroll down, we should soon see that our Baserow instance is available on our domain we specified. So let's just wait, and soon we will be able to create our first administrative account in the Baserow. Alright, and as you can see, we have the green line. The Baserow is now available at our IP and our domain we specified. So we can close this, but keep these logs. If something happened in the front end, we can see. So we can minimize it, and we can go to our domain. It's gonna be br.webnestify.net. And luckily now we can create our first administrative account. So it's gonna be simon@example.com, Simon, and we can generate password. Let me copy this, and we can click get started, and everything should be fine. Perfect. And also when we open our logs, we can see we have no errors. So for now we can terminate this window, or because we're gonna deploy n8n after we create our Baserow account. So let me go here. Of course we want to save this in our password manager, and in the welcome screen the Baserow will try to help you or get to know you. So let me do the IT and support, continue, CEO, how many people, less than 10, country, Slovakia, and here you can decide if you want to share some those kind of things to Baserow team or not. I'm okay for this now, that's fine. We can click continue, and here you can name your first workspace. So let me just make it Webnestify. Hold on, I cannot type. And we can click continue, and if you want you can invite your team members, and they should receive email if you set up your own SMTP. I did not, so I'm gonna skip this for now. And if you have some databases already, you can import it from the CSV, or you can import it from the Airtable if you try to migrate from Airtable. But I will start from scratch, and we can name it website leads. We can click continue, and what we want to track, you can add your own. I'm going to track campaigns, for example, or actually I'm going to name our own into the website leads, and it will be a name. It's like this. Okay, name. I think that's it. You can click continue, you can skip this, and it is trying to create your first workspace. So we have database website leads, and for example we can rename this to submitted forms. And yeah, first can be name. What we can add next wanna be also single line text, and it's gonna be a last name. Oh come on, sometimes so it's gonna be last name. We can remove the default one, and probably we also want email, so we can do the email, and we can create. So we can remove those 3 default columns or rows, and in our website list database we have table with submitted forms. So here we create it for name, last name, email. Those 3 things we will track when we set up collecting leads from the forms from WordPress, and it's gonna be automated everything through n8n. But first we need to create those kind of things. And what's really nice about the Baserow, I'm not using like the advanced Kanbans and those kind of things. I'm just using it to store data instead of bloating my WordPress database. So this is really handy. And also for some other automation tools, if I need to store data temporarily, then I will use Baserow, and then it will automatically disappear. But The power is completely yours with the Baserow. You can do the project management. You have a lot of templates that you can choose, which is amazing. And you know, it's based free and open source, and I really love it. Even it's free, you can purchase cheap license, but yeah, it is completely up to you. All right, so now we can move to the n8n deployment. All right, so I have edited also the n8n Docker Compose file and also the env file where I created my database user and database name, same like in the Baserow. So again, we're gonna do Docker Compose up D, and we want to see logs. So Docker Compose logs -f, and n8n refers to undefined network test. Okay, let me check. Docker network ls. You should get this. Hold on. Let me edit the file again. I'm done. Oh yes, I forget to to change networks in the external. Okay. And now it should go, and it will pull up the containers, and also it will create the database. And everything should be fine, but we are seeing some errors that we don't have permissions to some folders. So what we can do, just go docker compose stop, and when you see the n8n storage folder is owned by root, but it should be owned by our local user. So what you can do, gonna be type sudo chown Webnestify and also group Webnestify. I think gonna be like recursive n8n storage. Now you type your sudo password. And hold on, it need to be capital R, I think. Yeah. Hold on. And when we do lsal, now the folder is owned by our user. So we can do docker compose up d docker compose logs -f. And luckily we won't have any issues this time. And as you can see, now n8n have creating the tables, and now we can visit our URL on the website. So let me just open it. And bingo, we can now create our first own account. So it's gonna be again Simon at example.net, Simon example, and also we can generate our strong secure password. This is fine. And here, if you want to receive security and product updates, you can click yes, you can click next. And also, like with many free and open source products, they want to get to know you, right? It's always good to give some basic data to them so they can do some decisions upon the data, right? So what best describes your company? Well, what can I say? I can do other. Which industries? IT. You can specify more. Which roles? Business owner. Who will your automations mainly be for yourself, and also maybe your team. But as you can see, as you can read with the licenses, you cannot use your own n8n for somebody else. You can use it only for yourself. And how big company? Less than 20 people. I can do podcast, and we can click get started. And if you want some paid features for free, which is a limited time offer, which is great, you can get workflow history, advanced debugging, which is seriously handy, and also execution search and tagging. So you can search and organize past workflows, executions for easy review. And I highly recommend you put your real email address so you can get your free license key. So let me just do it. Simon at Webnestify Cloud. send me a free license key, and let me open my email. All right, I have my key in my clipboard, so let me go to the settings and usage and plan, and you can enter the activation key here, and you can activate, and now you have community edition register version. Okay, so and from the reverse proxy, what I decided to use is Caddy. And Caddy is seriously small and very simple reverse proxy that you can use to serve your self-hosted applications automatically on SSL. You will find installation instruction and also the Caddy file for the Baserow and n8n in the documentation that I will prepare. But I wanted to show you the example Caddy file that I was using for this tutorial. So we're gonna list it cat etc Caddy file, and as you can see, first we specify domain, what we want to serve is gonna be the server block, and then we want to reverse proxy, HTTP, localhost, and the port we also specify in the Docker compose, so it will be n8n for Baserow. And for n8n, the port is 5678 and also the localhost. And that's basically it. If you want to add more domains, you can just edit this file. Let's do nano, and you can copy like this block. You go to the next line, hold on, and you paste it, and you have another domain, so on and so forth. You can have X number of domain you want to use for your self-hosted application. So you can use this instead of nginx proxy manager or traffic or etc. And also this Caddy is not a Docker container. It is standard standard application without any virtualization, which is also what I like sometimes to do. So yeah, Caddy is way to go. So thanks for watching. I hope this tutorial inspired you to unlock the full potential of automations with n8n and Baserow. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you will never miss a future video. Also, I would like to invite you to the Webnestify Discord community. You can find link in the description. And for more conversation and ideas, you can sign up also for Webnestify newsletter for updates and resources. As always, thank you for your supporting open source projects and this channel. See you in the next video.